What a beautiful spring morning in May. Haven't done this ride for a while. I think last time I did it, it was winter. We're heading towards Bishop Monkton, which is 4 miles. A little waterfall there, a little stream. This ride is number 4 in my 66 bike rides, in my 66th year, the year I officially become an old age pensioner. I do not intend to behave like an old age pensioner. Free bus pass or no free bus pass. This is only the 4th bike ride of the year, even though it's May, because we've had such a terrible winter and early spring into 2023, 2024. So I haven't been able to get out. This is the first ride I've filmed this year, and for quite a while actually. I've got some new batteries for my GoPro video camera and a new SD card, so fingers crossed they will work. We're just coming down to Copgrove, where we briefly turn left before turning right towards Bishop Monkton village. we will retrace this road on our way back, rejoining it after an off-road section just ahead to the right of that red car. And there's a map of this ride at the beginning of this video. This road goes through the estate of Copgrove Hall and goes across part of the lake just here. Bit of a lake going on there. If we carried on going on this road, we would get to the A64 between Harrogate and Ripon, but we're not. We're turning off right to Bishop Monckton soon. We're kind of doing a steady climb up to above Fountains Abbey, so it's kind of gradual, a few uphill sections, a few downhill sections, undulating really, but not really flat, which is good because flat is boring. This is where we turn right. Nice little village store at Burton Leonard. Got some really nice homemade pork pies from there. Really nice. But it's quite busy to cycle through. You get quite a bit of traffic from the A64. And where possible, I try and avoid main roads on my bike rides. Look, we've got fields of rape flowers. And soon, I don't know if you'll see it on the GoPro, but soon we'll be looking ahead to over the hills to Ripon Cathedral, which I think I featured on my last recorded bike ride. I'm a bit slower today because I've still got my winter tyres on. Schwab tyres with a bit of a tread, which I was going to use during the winter, but the weather was so bad didn't actually go out. So because I do a bit of off-road as well, I may or may not keep them on, I don't know, we shall see. Bit of a climb, strange down. This bike is now 6 years old. We have done some miles. We certainly have. And it's been upgraded to, for example, from mechanical disc brakes to hydraulic disc brakes, which was quite expensive but worth it. Although my discs need a good clean, which is why you'll probably hear them screeching when I come to a halt. Apologies in advance. Quite hazy today, so we may not see Ripon Cathedral from here. Ooh, a nice downhill section. Itchy nose. Probably the pollen. Itchy, itchy, itchy nose. coming into Bishop Monckton village, where we don't actually go in the village on the way out. We do on the way back because we cut off here, but this time we turn left shortly, heading towards Markington, and that road will take us over the old railway from Harrogate to Ripon, track bed now, and also over the A64 to Ripon from Harrogate. On another ride, I'll take you to the old Ripon railway station, which I discovered last year and which is now apartments, which is very sad because it used to be a very busy railway, and we will go under it a few times on the way back and also trace its route in other places. If I'm not wrong, I think it was a victim of the infamous Dr. Beeching. Anyway, we turn left here. The first part of the old railway line from Harrogate to Ripon is now a cycleway, but it branches off to go to Ripley, Ripley Castle, and the section that carries on to the former Ripon railway station and beyond to Bedale is now overgrown. And yet the infrastructure is still there. However, there are houses built on some of it, and obviously the land would have been sold off. There have been talks about reinstating it as a railway line, but the cost would be prohibitive. Even as a cycle track, it'd be expensive. But either would bring in loads of tourism to Ripon and also be an excellent commuter link to Harrogate and Leeds and beyond. There's now an Azuma train goes, I think it's once a day, twice a day, I don't know, from Harrogate to King's Cross, which is a relatively recent venture. The line from Harrogate to Leeds is diesel, and Azuma trains can switch between diesel and overhead electrics, which is perfect for a route like that. Leeds is electrified. Or should I say the Leeds-London route is electrified. And as far as Edinburgh Haymarket, the other way, see what you get on these rides. You get a bit of cycling and a bit of railway and a bit of local knowledge. Don't always claim to be accurate, but I'll try to be. This is the old railway track bed. We'll take a look. I think it's difficult to see because it's completely overgrown. So if it's overgrown, it's not actually serving any useful purpose, is it? It's not farmland. It's not anything. It's not even a public footpath. Let's see if we can hear the dirty disc brake pads. Let's have a look here. What do we see? Look. Private. Can you see it? What a shame. Shame it's no longer a railway or being used for any other purpose. Let's have a drink. I'm drinking protein shakes with matcha tea to hopefully give me some energy and nutrition. Oh, I'm using soy milk. It's not an advertisement for this, I don't get paid. But this is quite a good container. It fits into my bottle cages on the bike. A climb up to the A64, and then it's not bad for a while through to Markington. One thing I've been doing over winter, which makes a difference to my cycling, or shall I say which has made a difference to my cycling, even though I wasn't out on the bike, but I noticed it from the first ride, and is excellent for people of a certain age. Morning. Is lifting weights, dumbbells, and doing squats and leg strengthening exercises. There's a brilliant YouTube channel by someone called Kaylee Cohen, whose videos I'm completely addicted to in a good way, and I'll put a link below. I've also done some indoor exercise bike sessions too, but they really are boring. What's different about Kaylee Cohen's strength exercises are that she's so enthusiastic, and you don't get bored, you just don't. They're really enjoyable. I never thought I'd say that about indoor exercising. Hello. And anyone of a certain age, over 60, will know, especially women, that weight training and muscle strengthening exercises are good, or some of the best exercises you can do, subject to being in full health and getting the usual GP agreement and all that stuff. I have to say that, don't I? Because as we get older, we can lose our muscle, and to me it's so important that I try to retain as much as possible. And also it's good for bone density, which is another thing, especially post-menopausal women. Though I'm not a GP, I'm not a physio, I'm just saying what I've read, so please see your GP, physio, etc. before following my advice. I don't want you to come to any harm. Knees can be a problem too when you're past a certain age. My knees have been bothering me a bit. I'm seeing a physio in a couple of weeks. But cycling is a good low impact, all over exercise. Just you have to be careful when doing weights and squats, things like that. Pretty section coming up as we head into Markington village. I like this section. I like it in all weathers apart from rain and snow and ice. Should I say all seasons? little river stream thing there on the right, and the smell of wild garlic, sign of spring. Probably making my hay fever worse. Markington. There's a Markington Hall nearby. I've not actually cycled there because it's not on the cycle route, but one day I'll take a look. At the top of a slight incline we turn right into the village. Here's the slight incline. Right, turn right. I keep looking down for two reasons. One, to check the camera's still working, and also to check what gear I'm in, because it's a drop handles bike, so the only way you can see what gear you're in is to look backwards at the wheel hub thing. See, I know all the technical terms. Not. Shortly we turn right up a little lane, a sweet little lane. Here we are. This is on a national cycle route. I didn't catch which route, but soon at the end of this lane, which is a very pretty lane, we meet the Way of the Roses cycle route that goes all the way from Morecambe in Lancashire to Bridlington in East Yorkshire, and it goes along little lanes and off-road sections and cycle paths wherever possible. It's not always possible, but where it is, it does. And we will stay on the Way of the Roses route all the way back to Bishop Monckton and beyond, because we're turning off at Bishop Monckton this time, still following the Way of the Roses. I'll tell you when we join the Roses. It's not yet. Quite warm. Wish I'd worn my shorts. Get a bit self-conscious that at the moment 65 years old, wearing cycle shorts. Back in the day I used to have a really good figure, but unfortunately age has weathered it, shall we say. One of the problems of doing cycle rides along country lanes is the roads are a bit bumpy, the surface, there's potholes and patchworks, so you can even it out on the video app, but then you find the horizon kind of moves and it makes you feel seasick, and it just takes darn long to do. And if I'm planning to video 60 odd rides this year, don't want to spend too much time editing and uploading, otherwise it becomes a full-time job, especially as I don't get any pay for doing this. It's a hobby. I have too many hobbies, far too many hobbies. You can't have far too many hobbies. This is so pretty. It wasn't on the day I saw a rat run across the lane here. But it's just one of the things you get in the countryside. And in our garden, we've got a rat in the compost. What are we going to do? Still climbing a bit. I've been doing flat rides so far this year. Well, the 3 I've done this year. This is the first with any real climbs. Hey, downhill. Hey. Do not be deceived. There's a climb that follows up to where we overlook the Fountains Abbey estate. I'm going to try to do different rides, so I'm not videoing the same ride twice. It will have been, some of them will have been videos on my older videos from a few years back, but not this year. do I redo the videos from last, well, it's not last year, it's about 3 or 4 years ago, or do I redo them? I just said that twice, didn't I? I meant, do I not do them, not video them? Go on, these climbs are making my brain turn to mush. Oh, there used to be a sign straight there, but it's gone. It's here on the right. We're joining the Way of the Roses cycle route. It may be we joined it earlier, I'm not sure. I'll have to check. But anyway, we stay on the Way of the Roses cycle route all the way back to Bishop Monckton, and it takes us right through the middle of the Studley Royal estate. It doesn't take us down to Fountains Abbey because that's National Trust and you can't cycle through it, but you can cycle through the Studley Royal estate. Bit of a climb here. Here we are, Way of the Roses. See, there's a red rose and a white rose. Red for Lancashire, white for Yorkshire. Cycle route number 688. Look at these bluebells. Beautiful. There's a sweet little chapel up on the hill. I don't think it's used anymore. No. The windows. I think it's a chapel anyway, I have to look it up on the map. I'll just stop and see if I can get... Oh, I can't get a photo because of the trees. Soon we'll stop again as we look over at the Fountains Abbey estate, and we should be able to see Fountains Hall, which was built from the stones from the dissolution of Fountains Abbey. Can't tell you exact date that it was built. National Trust cottages up there. I shall look up the information and put it on the screen, hopefully. There's a downhill stretch now that takes us to the lower entrance of Fountains Abbey by the disabled car park, and past some pretty little cottages owned by the National Trust that you can rent for your holidays. And shortly past those cottages there's a beast of a climb, short but sharp climb up to the obelisk at Studley Royal. Now we can see, I don't know if you can see the tower of Fountains Abbey poking out of the valley. It's quite a tall tower, so it's quite a deep valley. It doesn't actually look as though it's ruined, but it is. So the tower was built later than the actual abbey, or it was built shortly before the abbey was dissolved. So in a way this ride features two wreckers. We've got Henry VIII, who dissolved the monasteries like Fountains Abbey, and we've got Dr. Beeching, who decimated our beautiful railways and branch lines. Oh look, can you see Fountains Hall? Must clean my disc brakes. You could paint that. It'd be a good subject. Set up an easel up here and paint it. My bike needs a good clean. It's gathered all the dust over the winter. It has had a service a few weeks ago. Oh. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Pheasant. This wall on the right is part of the boundary wall of the old Fountains Abbey, so it's pretty old. I mean, Fountains Abbey was a seriously big abbey, and it kind of owned, I think, or managed a number of other abbeys in the area, including Kirkstall Abbey in Leeds. And this was such a beautiful setting. Now, it looks like we turn right here, but it's not a giveaway. We just fork right. But be careful, because cars come down there on the left, and we're thinking it's not a giveaway. Yeah, you can see Fountains Hall ahead, poking over the wall. That's one of the car parks for disabled people. What are you doing? These are the cottages. Now there's a short, sharp shock of a climb here. I'm in my lowest gear, and my cycle coach gave me some brilliant tips on managing climbs, which I'll tell you about later. One of the tips is to go slow. You don't run at it like a bull at a gate. I mean, some cyclists do, and they do the whole thing out of the saddle, but not me. It's not the way I do it. Do what works for me. Evens out here. We're turning right towards the National Trust car park for Fountains Abbey and Studley Royal. Okay, so what does my coach advise? He advises bend and relax your elbows, relax your shoulders and relax your hands, and concentrate on your legs doing the work, and slow right down to a comfortable pace, especially when you're doing a lengthy climb. Works for me. Doesn't work on some climbs that are impossible. At least one of which I'll be taking you to at some point this year when I increase my fitness a bit. Just changed the battery on my GoPro. I find batteries last about an hour, so I have to bring spares with me. But hopefully this SD card I've got will last longer, so I'm not having to change that as well, which was one of the hassles before. It's supposed to have a massive memory. Now we turn off at the obelisk into the Studley Royal Fountains Abbey estate, and it's all downhill virtually to Ripon. First though, that's where the car park is, on the right. And the visitor centre. Couldn't believe the price of ice creams at National Trust cafes last year. I've got National Trust membership. They're really expensive, but then everything's expensive. In 2024, more so than 2023. Straight ahead, you can probably see the obelisk. I'll have to find out what that signifies, and I'll put it on the screen. Now it's a glorious downhill straight stretch which we shall embark on soon. The year before last, I used this downhill stretch as a training ground for hill climbing. I think I did it downhill, uphill, 5 times. And I'll probably do it again. Right, indicating right to go into the estate. I'll give you some interesting information soon if you don't know this area. Right. I should be able to open the gates. Ta-da! Open sesame. Yay. There it goes. Now, this is the Studley Royal estate, and this here is Studley Royal Church, designed and decorated by the High Victorian Gothic architect William Burgess, who is famous for doing the 19th century renovations and rebuilding of parts of Cardiff Castle and the famous interior. The interior of this church is quite amazing. It's been restored to look like it once did. Sadly, I can't take my bike inside, but check it out on the internet. It's beautiful. I'll take you to another interesting thing. Just beyond the church is what's now called the Chorister's House. It's also a William Burgess work of art, masterpiece. It has that look about it that you get at Cardiff Castle and also Castle Cock in Wales. You can stay in there. I think it's owned by the National Trust. You can rent it for your holiday. Now Fountains Abbey is on the right, but you have to walk through the Studley Royal water gardens to get there. It's a massive estate. Now you can't see because it's all hazy, but straight ahead you can see the tower, or one of the towers, or both towers of Ripon Cathedral. And if I turn around, should be able to see the steeple of the Studley Royal Church, and they are aligned in a straight line. It looks like you can go all the way down here to Ripon, but you can't. At the end you've got to turn off, but we'll be doing that. And this is where I did the training, uphill, downhill, up to the chapel, down to the gate, up to the chapel, down to the gate. But I'm not doing that today, so I'll take you to show you something else that's interesting. I could take you down to the lake. Maybe I will, I don't know. We might go down to the lake. It's a deer park. You often get deer crossing the road. I've got a bit of a video of one. I'll try to put that up. Up there. You do have to beware of pedestrians here, you really do. I probably wouldn't charge down it like that guy. Right. So, yeah, I'll take you down to the lake. Down here there's another car park. If you come in the entrance, the Ripon End entrance. And there's another entrance to the Fountains Abbey estate with a shop and a cafe. There's a really nice walk you can do. Comes in on the left from behind Fountains Abbey, and it's called the Valley of the Bridges, I think. Lots of little bridges crossing streams. Right, so here we have the lake. Oh look, babies. You can see the cafe straight ahead, and beyond that is the Studley Royal estate, and if you walk through it, Takes you all the way to Fountains Abbey. All sorts of things. There's follies on the hill and a banqueting house and even a hermit's cave. I think that back in the day they used to pay a hermit guy or an actor or someone to do a hermity thing for all the 18th century visitors. Alright, I'll take you to another interesting place now. Bit of a climb back up. Hello. Right, we're going to cross the main drag here. Studley Royal was the park attached to, I think it was Studley Hall. I'll put the proper name on the screen. It was a Georgian stately home. It became a school for a while, and I don't think it was until sort of 1940s it burnt down and was demolished, but some part of it does still remain, which I shall show you. It's been a massive estate. It used to be the thing, of course, in the late 18th, early 19th century, to have a ruin in your garden. The early Gothic revival, and some stately homes built their own ruins, sort of follies. But others actually had a real life ruin, and what better ruin could you have than Fountains Abbey, although it is some distance from the hall. Now what's coming up on the left is the old stable block, and the sheer size of that shows you what the hall must have been like. I believe the hall would have been to diagonally right. Sort of over there, I think. The stable block is now private apartments, I think. I don't think there's any evidence of the footprints of the old hall. That stable block's quite impressive. So I think the hall would have been over there. I bet if you had a bird's eye view of it, you'd be able to see the footprint. Right, we'll head back to the main drag. As I said, it'll be mainly all downhill now. A nice ride into Ripon. Well, when I say nice, some of it's on the main road, it's unavoidable. Easy going ride, should I say. But it's all downhill. Oh, there's deer on the left. That's what everyone's looking at. Right, we're back on the main drag. Here we go. I can see Ripon Cathedral ahead. I don't know if you can. And you see a great big stag on the left, disguised as a bit of tree. Yeah, with big antlers. Cattle grids coming up. It's going to be a bit bumpy. In fact, I think there's 2 cattle grids. You can still see Ripon Cathedral straight ahead under the arch. Here we go. First 3 cattle grids. Number 1, or 4 if you count these 2. Rumble! And another one at the end. Now it looks like you can go straight ahead, but you can't, so that's private. You turn left, excuse me, just outside, just beyond this entrance here. Sorry, turn left. Did I say left? Or did I say right? Anyway, turn left. Here's Castle Grays. There's a tiny little climb up to the road. It's not too bad. Hello, pussycat. A bit of hay fever going on. Like I said, it's a little bit of a climb here, not too bad. Oh, little lambs. Yeah. At the junction, we turn right. But be careful if you do this ride. It says on a fairly main road, but not too bad. Takes you straight into Ripon. Well, not straight, you have to turn right at the roundabout further on. We're still on the Way of the Roses cycle route, of course, heading east. So if you do it from Morecambe to Bridlington, this is the way you will come. Well, you will come this way if you're doing it the other way, but in the opposite direction. Right. Unfortunately, there's no way to avoid this road. Because being a major cycle route, if they could have avoided it, they would have done. But the speed limit drops here to 30. At this roundabout that's coming up, we'll be taking a right, so take care. This is where I find my cat eye bar end mirror. Is very useful to see what's behind you, like a rear view mirror on a car. So take care here. On one of my last bike ride videos, I covered a lot of interesting information about Ripon, and I'll put a link at the end of this video to that video so you can read all about the drunken alcoholic dean of Ripon Cathedral who stole the bell from a little chapel and sold it off be melted down so he could use the money to fund his drinking habit. He said he promised to give them the bell back, but you know what he did, and you'll know if you've seen my other video. He installed a bell where the old one was, but it was made of wood, and it's still there. So at the end of this video you can check out a link to that video where I talk about interesting stuff, and I also visit a really spooky chapel at a castle where Henry VIII's last wife, Catherine Parr, lived for a while. So yeah, check out that link. I'd like to go in there again, actually. In the other video I also visit the grounds of Ripon Cathedral, which you can see ahead. This route doesn't go past the cathedral, but hopefully you can see it ahead. Here, even though the sign for the roses goes left, it's actually easier to go straight ahead, because it gets a bit confusing because it gets all mixed up which is the east and which is the west direction, and this is the way I always come. And at this roundabout down here, we'll be turning right. crossing a river. At the bottom here we come to a give-way junction where we'll be turning right. And this is the Way of the Roses cycle route now. So hopefully it'll be signposted. So we are turning right here. Yes, it's signposted. And then we take a left here. This takes us to a dead end with just a cycle route through. It would have been a through road back in the day before the Ripon bypass. Well, it's the A64, it's not a bypass really, before that was built. So we have to cross that. And then I'll show you where we join the old railway line that would have come from Harrogate to Ripon. So we go left again here. We're heading to Littlethorpe. If you look at old maps, you can check the route of the railway. We don't go near the station on this particular cycle route. It's way over on the left here. And here we have to cross the A64. Oh, a little tiny field mouse dead there. Right. Now cross this with care, obviously, on that little path. Right, that's the end of the busy urban stuff. Back onto country lanes. And the old railway line came through Littlethorpe. I'll show you where. Now just beyond Littlethorpe there's a hideous bit of road surface that is awful, and every year I think, will they have resurfaced it? It's strange, it's only a short section. This is Littlethorpe. Right, we're heading up. You can see now, well you can't. On the left, along there, is the old track bed. Still nothing there, still such a wasteland. Along there, would have gone along here. I imagine this lane would have gone alongside the railway. I'll have to check it out on an old map. And then straight ahead here, that's the railway track bed. There. We cross the railway a couple more times. We go under some beautifully constructed bridges. The railway goes up onto an embankment. Now, will they, won't they, will they, won't they have resurfaced this hideous bit of road. Anyway, we turn right here and it's not far to the hideous section. See the sign for Bishop Monckton, that's where we're going. That's the little brick chapel. Really pretty round here. And quite easy going on the cycle route. Now the bonkers thing is that before they obviously resurfaced this bit, but just around the corner that stops. There's a hideous bit and then it starts again. It's so weird. Will it have been resurfaced? I think this is false sense of security. I think this is another bit that's resurfaced, but it's not the nasty bit. And you wonder why they didn't do that bit. You really notice road surfaces, don't you, when you cycle? Looks like what they've done, they're just throwing a bit of gravel on top of it. That's all they've done, at least it's slightly better than it was. See what I mean? It ends here. Why? Right over there on the right is the railway embankment, and before too long we'll be going right to go underneath it. And we swing round to go underneath it again. We're going to go under the railway, or the former railway, in a moment. They went to so much trouble to build this beautiful line just for the nasty Dr. Beeching to axe it. It would have been a really popular line these days, like the Harrogate Leeds line is now. And who knows, they might have sent a zoomer right up here from Ripon or further up from Bedale all the way to London. That would have been a trip. So much work went into the construction of these bridges. Look, and it's built at an angle. Built incredibly well. I mean, just look at it. It's amazing. Beautiful, beautiful. Very beautiful. And up here we come to a T-junction where we turn left, which takes us underneath the railway again. Here's the other railway bridge, beautifully constructed. This is so sad. Look at it, derelict. It wasn't even a branch line, it was a main line. Another bridge that was built at an angle. Look at it. Oops. Is it a bridge? Is it a tunnel? When does a bridge become a tunnel? Good question. Tunnel-ette, maybe. Remember, we turned off at Bishop Monckton on the outward journey, or ride should I say, and this time we'll be turning off but in the opposite direction, so it's like a kind of figure of 8 ride with a bit of a loop on the end of Staveley where we started off. Tail shall I say, not a loop. One thing I've noticed with all my cycle rides everywhere in the countryside is the way that villages and towns have been increasing their size with new houses, and not of the affordable kind. The government goes on about affordable housing, but I can't see my son, who wants to get on the property ladder, being able to afford one of those. I suppose somebody can afford them. I mean, a mansion would be affordable housing for someone like Rishi Sunak, the current Prime Minister. It's relative, isn't it? Caviar for every single meal And what else would he have? Truffles, and he doesn't drink, so it wouldn't be champagne. But the most expensive food bought from the most expensive places would be affordable for him. Anyway, here we are arriving at the new builds outside Bishop Monckton. At least they do build them sympathetically. Not if it had been back in the 60s or 70s, God only knows what they would have built. Or 80s. This is where we turn left. If you remember before, we went up on the right. We came in from the opposite direction and turned up there on the right towards the old railway bridge and the A64. Whoops. This is a pretty village, Bishop Monckton. Very ecclesiastical name. It could be Monckton Bishop, Bishop Monckton. Monckton Bishop, Bishop Monckton. It's got a sweet little stream that runs through it. And an old church. I think that was a pub on the left, another pub that's closed. Little stream on the right here. Here we are. It continues here on the left. It's a tiny little bridge. Oh, a bit bumpy. On to battery number 3 now on the GoPro. 1 hour per battery. Rattle, stop rattling. Bit bumpy. the Roses route, and we carry on for a while, and then we turn off it. Look, I think this is an old mill on the left. Still rattling. I think it's this. Yeah, we carry on for quite a bit, and then we turn off right, and we do a little bit of off-road. It's what used to be a tarmac lane or path, but it's seen better days. You have to cycle carefully. It is a bridle path, bridle way. Can get flooded here. So if you're doing the Way of the Roses cycle route, this section can be really, really nice and relaxing after the challenges of the Yorkshire Dales and the Pennines. And do not be deceived, because beyond York you head for the Yorkshire Wolds, which is quite hilly. Which are quite hilly, and they are also very beautiful. Feature on a number of my videos, cycle rides on this channel. And I don't think I really went over there last year, because the weather was so awful last year. But I did fall in love with a new section I'd never cycled before. Well, I'll take you there on one of the rides soon. So last year when I was cycling, I was tending to clock up less mileage and more feet height. So the challenging cycle rides, but shorter than the 30 miles that I have done in past years, more sort of around the 22, 24, 26 mile length, but much hillier, much more hilly. It's not long till we turn off. A lot of tractors. If you carry along on the Way of the Roses, you go through Rowcliffe and then you arrive at Borough Bridge, where I was on a ride at the weekend. I will film it for you at some point. But like I said, we're turning off. This is where we turn off, coming up. We turn off on the right. turn right with care. Yeah. And I think I'll change down gears because it's a bit of a dodgy surface, and I apologise for bumping around here. This is one reason I may keep these winter tyres on, because they're better when you're on dodgy surfaces. Like last summer I came off my bike on a corner where there was some wet sand, and resulted in costly repairs to the bike and quite a few repairs to me. I didn't break anything, but I was lucky not to break anything. So beware of wet sand. And these tyres have a little bit of a tread on them, and they're quite wide, and it's supposed to be bulletproof, because in autumn I tended to get loads of punctures, hawthorn clippings. One ride a couple of years ago I got a double puncture in the pouring rain. Luckily a kind man in a van, a plasterer, came to my rescue. Wouldn't normally accept lifts from strangers, but I had no choice. Having said that, I've practiced over and over again how to get tyres on and off bikes and change inner tubes, so I don't have to rely on other people. But these Schwab tyres are my summer tyres, which are summer tyres which are gator skins. They're Continentals. Both are notoriously tricky to get on and off, but I've got some quite clever little tools that do help me do that. You can find lots of special tools on YouTube videos on how to get tricky tyres on and off. The surface deteriorates after this gate. Just a sweet little house. Thank you. This is where the surface gets worse. Carefully don't skid. Like they've thrown a bit of gravel on it since I was last here. Don't know whether that helps or not. Oh my god, there's a car coming. Where did that come from? So cycle this with care. Some more new build houses, affordable to rich people. And this at the end is where we rejoin the Outswood route and we take a left to retrace our steps back to Staveley, where I've parked my car. There's a village green at Staveley, which is a good place to park. And you get to Staveley through Knaresborough, or if you're coming in the opposite direction, off the A59 York. Stick it on your route. Here we are. To the left here, and aside from a little climb, it's quite an easy route back into Staveley. And nice and smooth after that off-road. waterfall on the left again, and we turn left at the junction into Staveley. Staveley, Rumble Street. This is the village green. Near where I'm parked, and where we will end this route. Ooh. Right. Let's see how many miles we have done on the Strava. 24.67 miles. About 2.28 hours.